Okay, we're live. And let me go over to Instagram and go live over there. Great. Hey, you too? So, Jillian, you've got a stack of books right there in the background.
Yes.
Amazing.
It looks so good.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's always nice to have, I guess I'm old school. I like the physical copy of the book.
Yeah, I think you may be the first one to get physical copies. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And I just checked the download stats. We're at 4,000 copies downloaded for the series over the last 3 days of our launch, including 1,600 for the new volume.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. That's so good.
Pretty cool. I don't know exactly how that's taken off so well, but I'm riding the wave. So, Ivana, you were on our panel discussion a couple of days ago. Jillian, I think you weren't there. So maybe we'll start with Jillian then. We'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what your exercise was and why you chose that one.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm Jillian Schlegger. I'm a Canadian author. I'm also an intuitive consultant for spiritual entrepreneurs. And I chose the exercise or technique for this book. It was a process. I went through about at least 8 techniques that I wanted to put into the book. And I just kept writing, and, that image in your head of the author with the, writing and then ripping up the paper and throwing it. That's essentially what I was doing. It just wasn't coming together. But I think what I was trying to do was write the best chapter that I could for the people that would be reading it. And I have no idea who would be reading the book. So what I did was I just thought, okay, what do I want people to know that about maybe what I've struggled with and what I help my clients struggle with. And that was the easiest route to get to the technique that I put in there. So this is mastering a money story. So this is activating your power of choice. And I help a lot of solopreneurs get their business up and running, get the legs under the business so that the business is standing upright and on its own and can function as its own entity. And the one main thing that we as solopreneurs often struggle with is money and our relationship with money and feeling like we have choice when it comes to money. So that is the technique and the exercise that I wrote about for this chapter.
And what does choice, how does that play in with money? And hello, Cornelia, welcome.
Hey, Cornelia.
Hello, Jillian, Ivana, Derek. So good to see you.
Good to see you. We don't often feel like we have choice. We've been told and taught since we were a child that money comes from some random outside source. And I share a story in the chapter of a neighbor of mine. We were outside chatting, and her daughter, who was probably 6 at the time, went into the driveway and found a nickel. And she went to her mom and said, "Look, I found money." And the mom knocked it out of her hand and said, "That's dirty." And I thought, oh man, that's like the worst start to this little girl's money story. So we often don't feel like we have choice when it comes to creating, accepting, receiving, having money in our life.
Jillian, we'll have to talk more at some point. I've been digging into the mechanics of the money system here in the United States and how we magically create money from thin air, basically, to run the system, and that it takes us in order to power the whole system. It's really, really fascinating.
It is fascinating. There's so many components to it. And when we choose to have ownership of our own, control of generating, manifesting, receiving, choosing, claiming, having money, there's all of these different aspects to it. And if we, my work, I do a lot of muscle testing. We could actually muscle test which one of those has the bottleneck or has an actual block, a lid over top of it. And these are either things that we've been taught since a child, since we were children, or things that we've seen our parents struggle with or believe, or rules or programs that our parents have. So we think, oh, okay, well, they've gotten to where they are, they've survived because they're over, 100 days old. So they must know what they're doing. And so I'll take on that belief as well. And there's so many systems and processes and programs and rules around money. And it is a really fascinating subject.
Maybe you could weigh in on this. I think a lot of people, they don't even know that they're essentially billionaires because their estate is sort of secret from them. So they're actually rich, but they don't know it. And if you told them, they wouldn't believe you. And so here you have sort of the opposite thing where it's like, oh, I wish I had money. Well, you actually do have sort of an infinite supply of money, but you don't even really know about it. And people are in denial of their own sort of abundance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're taught that. We're taught that since we were very, very young. And it is a program. Even I find it very interesting how there's so many rules around. It's rude to even talk about money. So many programs.
Yeah, in a lot of cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you guys? So Cornelia and Ivana are both in Switzerland, which is known for its banking. Are you guys, among other things, banking, chocolates, being on time? But
Please,
do you guys talk about money over there? Is that acceptable to discuss wealth and money in polite society in Switzerland?
Well, I'm not Swiss, so I cannot answer that question, Cornelia. You're Swiss, right?
Yeah. I think it's more you just have it, but you don't talk about it. So that's at least, and it's also you never talk about how much money you earn, or so that's my experience with it.
Yeah, that was kind of my impression from the outside. It's
so
like
it's not so transparent compared to Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, interesting.
So because like in Scandinavia, it's so transparent because you can really, there is a system and you can check out how much every person in the whole country earns.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, you can check out how much your CEO of your company is earning, and how much you're having. So it's completely transparent. It's public.
Interesting.
I wonder if that would change the perception of it, because there does seem to be, if you have too much money, there's shame. If you have not enough money, there's guilt, or vice versa. And those are two of the lowest vibrations on the scale of, or map of consciousness. It's such an interesting, I wonder if there was transparency around money and what people earned, if that would sort of dilute or neutralize the aspect or perception of earning.
I think in Switzerland it would just destroy the business model, right? Because now it's not anymore, but for a very, very long time the secrecy of banks, it was kind of the business model in Switzerland. You could hide any money and store it, and nobody would ever get any information about it.
Right. Yeah. And then in the US, there's something, a lot of people pay taxes on their wages, but wages are actually classified by the IRS as a gift. So they're not classified as income. And so nobody really should be paying taxes on their wages. And the IRS just chooses not to really tell people about that. So they have everyone basically paying this money that they don't really need to, which is also wild. That's a whole rabbit hole that
that's it. We're blowing the lid off.
But so I titled this live the best transformational exercises for 2024. Here we are at the beginning of the year. Of course, we have the ones in our book, but I also love to share any other exercises that either you all have been personally doing here at the beginning of the year, or exercises that are a good match for the ones you included in the book, so that people watching or listening may have something they could go and use today.
Yeah.
So what would be your transformational exercise you recommend for 2024?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, just earlier today, I gave a talk at my kids' school. They're in elementary school. And I had my kids give a demonstration of blindfold reading, which they've been practicing for a few weeks now. And the whole school cheered when my kids did it for them, did a successful example, and they could see the magic. And I think the best sort of training exercises are ones that feel like pretty fun and magical to actually do. So it could be trying blindfold reading, or practicing telepathy, or getting into lucid dreaming, or just even astral projection, traveling around the universe. Whatever is really fun, I think is something that I would recommend. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's amazing.
Because last time I remember we were talking about it, right? You would say like 50% of all parents would like get up and leave the room and avoid their kids playing with your kids, and the other 50% would ask, I want to know, I want you to teach it to my kids.
So the coolest thing at the end of the workshop, I said, just out of curiosity, who would like to learn to do this? And all the kids, like 300 kids, jumped up and they're like, ooh, me, I want to do it. And I was like, yes. Score. Well, so it was so much fun. And yeah, very, very cool. And the teachers got a lot out of it too. I heard them, I talked to some people afterwards and they were like, oh yeah, that's, latest research in quantum physics. Or some people were like, yeah, the traditional cultures really knew what they were talking about when they had these esoteric practices. And so like each person had their own takeaways from what this means, but they got to see something that was magical, and they got to hear about the scientific mechanisms. And so,
congratulations.
Yeah, it was very cool.
That is cool.
And just before this call, I was doing a meditation to inhabit the 5th, 6th, and 7th dimensions. Each have their own set of rules, but you can exist simultaneously right now in the 3rd dimension, and move all the way up into the 5th, 6th, and 7th as well.
Wow.
So how is the 7th dimension?
Well, I don't really understand them yet, but I couldn't tell you exactly what the difference between those dimensions are. But first you have to get there, and then you can experience it, I suppose.
But isn't it that in the 5th dimension, everything feels kind of lighter, and it's more in the direction of light?
Sure. Yeah. What I mean is that each dimension has its own sort of discrete set of physics. It's like each one is its own game, so to speak. And as you sort of move closer to perceiving everything all at once, each dimension would have its own rules for what you could do within it.
So it's like game, right? So you're on the next level, and then you have different tasks and different skills.
Yeah, basically.
Amazing. I want to learn everything about this then.
The Earth plane, the 3rd dimension, is such a. I'm realizing what a special place it is to be able to experience what we do as humans. It's like, for example, almost nowhere else has linear time. So we get to have these experiences one after the other and form a narrative, to form a story, which apparently is pretty unique among the universe. And we also have, I believe that this planet has more diversity of life than anywhere. And it's like a library of everything that's possible in life. And we just get to walk around in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, hopefully we as a species start to honor everything here a little bit more. Are there perceptions of other entities, thought forms on the other dimensions that you've interacted with?
Sure, yeah, a lot of non-physical. In the higher dimensions, most beings don't bother with a physical form. Mm-hmm. Or maybe there'd be a light form or a plasma form or a semi-physical form. And so there's no requirements for food. You can't really die in the same way. And there's a collectiveness to species, right? So everybody sort of knows everyone's thoughts simultaneously, which that's why I'm partly so interested in training telepathy among humans, so that we can begin to really take advantage of our collective, because we're already co-creating collectively anyway, but we have this belief that we're separated and creating our own thing by ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it's going to solve a lot of problems as soon as we pay more attention to our telepathic connections.
Do you see a correlation? Sorry, I'm picking your brain a lot. Do you see a correlation between like the map of consciousness and the layers of emotional resonance in regards to telepathy? As in, if someone was on a lower resonance, like courage or even fear, they would mostly connect with other people on that frequency or resonance, and people who were at love or a higher resonance would connect with and maybe.
I think you're blocked entirely from telepathy until you get to probably 250 or 300. which is why we often do like some sort of centering, grounding practice, some breaths at the beginning of a session. Yeah, because one, the thinking mind gets in the way, but also, yeah, if you're too low in frequency, then it won't work at all. So connecting with the heart is probably the fastest way to activate telepathy. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I would love.
For anyone who is, we're talking about the map of consciousness. It's something, if anyone watching doesn't know what it is, you can just Google it, David Hawkins map of consciousness. And there's some people who have taken the map of consciousness and sort of shown like, here's the scale, which goes from 0 to 1,000. And here's the corresponding emotions and the corresponding dimensional matches. And people add even more information to that. So you can get these diagrams that have a lot of correlated information about emotions, dimensions, densities of consciousness, and all different things like that. It can be very informative to study as a map.
Yeah. And I use it a lot with muscle testing and with my clients. I used to do live videos on Facebook all the time, and I printed out the map of consciousness on a pendulum chart. A couple weeks ago, I guess we were on a call, Derek, and we were talking about muscle testing with a pendulum versus the projection onto an imaginary, or the KDB I call it, which is the kinetic divination whiteboard, and the difference of that and how much depth the whiteboard has. But when I was doing the live, I was muscle testing with a pendulum, and somebody that would think of their desire would test at a really low vibration, so fear or shame. If again, if it's a person that wants more money in their life and they're thinking about money, their emotion immediately goes to shame or guilt or fear. So I would say to them, just think of something, someone, some place, some time, a pet that you are grateful for. And if they sat in that emotion of gratitude, it only took about 20 seconds. And we would see the pendulum within 20 seconds. We'd see the pendulum start to move and show their resonance, their vibration changed to something even above love, which is 500 megahertz. And that's how quickly we can change our vibration with an emotion of gratitude.
Yeah, sometimes you can just change your frequency by exercises or, moving your body, because then you also change your emotions.
Yeah, you can reset with movement, for sure. Cornelia, I wanted to toss this over to you because the other day we were talking about measuring Bovis. What's the connection, if there is any, between the scale of consciousness and Bovis units?
I think it's just a different unit, but maybe it would be interesting. I haven't looked into it, but I think it's a good idea to kind of have like set up a formula which you can connect the Bovis with the frequency of different emotions. Yeah, but I think it's not only based on emotions.
Right. I can imagine some emotions might come with a lot of, and Bovis is life force energy, right?
Yeah.
So some emotions could match to a lot of life force energy, like, I don't know, excitement or something like that. And perhaps, just a state of peace, which is pretty high on the scale of consciousness, could be any. It could be a varied range of life force associated with it, perhaps. But I don't know.
But I think probably when you are in peace, then you have probably a lot of personal energy.
Could be. My wife shared a quote with me today, something about like the more you live in maybe it was a state of peace, or maybe it was like a state of ceremony, or like your whole life was a ceremony, the more energy and enthusiasm you would also have for life. Like the more peaceful you were, the more enthusiasm you would experience.
It's interesting.
Could be true as well.
Yeah, but I think probably it also depends on the person, right? And maybe it's not about what you're doing, because when you're enthusiastic or excited about something, it doesn't matter what you're excited about. It's just the energy you're generating and the frequency you're vibrating on. Yeah, so it might be true.
Do you guys have an exercise that you want to share, or my prompt from earlier, Ivana or Cornelia?
Sure, yeah, but I think now I've been speaking a lot. Would be good to listen to Ivana's fabulous exercises. I just would like to add on what Jillian said before about how you can change the emotions, and because this is a very very important topic for me. It's not only about the emotion itself, but what for me is also important is what's behind the emotion, why I'm having this emotion, this look behind the scenes and find in a way the cause, what is triggering this emotion, and then solve or dissolve this cause, and then you can free these emotions, and so you're losing all these trigger points. And this is kind of my transformational exercise, which what I'm really big fan of is this letting go, right? Because for a lot of mindset work is about becoming somebody else and overwriting beliefs or thoughts. And it takes most of the time, takes a lot of time with these affirmations. You also have these 30 days minimum. And for me, like this personal energy management, it is, and it's all about letting go, because we have added all this stuff from when we were a kid, or even later on. We stored this in our system, and we think this is us, but it's not. It's just kind of an accumulation of all these things we can edit on our system. And so for me, like, the transformation is so much easier if you try to let go all this stuff that is on top of the real you. So it's all about getting back to yourself and find your unique, for me it's still this unique frequency of your soul with which you're born. And so I think this is for me the in a way the exercise. It's so much easier to let go than to become somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it's like uncovering. It's like the acorn growing into the oak tree. It's like it's already there. It has to just be allowed to express itself.
Like the faith of the mustard seed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ioana, I'd love to hear an exercise or about your chapter or anything you'd like to share.
Well, I would love to answer the question that you just asked us, something that is transformative and not in the book. and this exercise is actually not mine. I learned that from Monica Lawrence, who is also one of the authors. And in her wonderful course, Quantum Surfing, she shares a lot about observing the world in general from different perspectives, different lenses, and specifically observing the world very consciously, kind of, I would call it living in the very present moment and observing all of these things that are happening, and specifically paying attention to synchronicities that we usually would completely ignore. So for example, when you're at in our case here in Switzerland, when we are at the platforms, and waiting for the train, very often what I observe is the train stops exactly in a way that I have door in front of me and then I can enter the train, all of this type of tiny things that are happening all the time, but we just take them for granted. For example, I don't wait here in this queue, or there are just so many cool things happening all around me that I don't observe them. So what she is teaching is basically to observe synchronicities and to pay attention to them, and being kind of writing them down and being grateful for them. And I think it's very powerful, that exercise, yeah.
I have a fun synchronicity story to share really quick, actually two that happened just earlier this week, if I may. I bought this pair of hiking boots. My old boots lasted 18 years and they finally fell apart and I had to get new ones. And I was at the store and they said, "Would you like to round up for charity?" And I said, "Sure." And the total was $222 for the boots. And then I walked out the door and there's a billboard for a law firm and it said, "Injured, call 222-2222." And I was like, what's with all these twos? Like, how all of a sudden my life is full of twos? What's going on? So that was the first one. And then the second one, I referenced the talk that I gave this morning. One of the slides, I showed this 1,000-year-old tree that exactly 9 years and 9 days ago today, I had my first telepathic experience at that tree. And as I was preparing for this talk a few days ago, the person who I happened to be at that tree with went back to the tree and sent me a picture of it just as I was preparing to put the picture of the tree into my slideshow.
Oh my goodness.
And it just, like, what are the odds, right? It just blew me away.
Very cool.
That's really neat.
And it's so fun to have those.
Evidence.
Yes.
I'd love to share an exercise that I think I talk about muscle testing a lot, but one of the easiest ways that we can muscle test is to put your hand on your clavicle, and this is with your dominant hand. So if you write with your right hand, put your right hand on your clavicle. It doesn't have to be on your skin, it can be over top of clothing. And you're going to raise your index finger up off of your body. And your other hand is just going to test. You're going to try to keep that finger up high and just test how strong you can keep it. So you're kind of arm wrestling that one finger. See how strong that is. And then you're going to ask your body, what does yes feel like? And just press down and just test. And you're trying to really gauge what the strength feels like for yes. And then you're going to ask your body, what does no feel like? And so think of no, and the finger should lose all strength for no, and try yes again, stay strong for yes. So that's really what muscle testing is. If you're weak for both, I would suggest sitting in gratitude. Sitting in, or if you're backwards, so it's weak for yes and strong for no, sit in gratitude for at least 10-20 seconds. You could also put your arms down by your side and you can pinwheel your arms backwards, up around your ears, and then forward if you're physically able to do so. And try that again. That kind of reworks the energy to flow a different way. And that's muscle testing, that's applied kinesiology. That's allowing yourself to tune into your body, because your body never forgets and your body never lies. We were talking about money and the power of choice and the programs and the rules and the stories around money that we buy from other people. So when you're testing your body, you can test, do I have over 80% of someone else's money story that I've bought and concluded as my own? And you can test yes or no. Hopefully it's no. But because we're bioenergetic beings, we entangle energetically and emotionally and mentally with all of these other people in our lives, and we align, agree, buy, and choose other people's perceptions of reality, especially when it comes to money, and we take that on as our own. We buy it. So we can just tune into our body and make a muscle test. How much of their money stories, how much of their money rules and programs have we taken on? And the fun thing with this is, if you muscle test the percentage, and again, in the book, I lead you through how to use the KDB, which is a whiteboard. And if you can test the percentage on the whiteboard, muscle testing with your body just gives you a yes or a no. But the whiteboard allows you to muscle test a percentage. And the whiteboard also allows you to change that percentage. So if you get a percentage first, then just say, if it feels safe to do so again, I eject all of my mother's money stories from my body. I eject all of my father's money stories from my body, and then tune into and test your percentage again, either with the manual, the collar test, I call it manual muscle testing, or with the KDB, the whiteboard. But if we just choose to eject their perceptions from our body, then it does dissipate. It does. Our body will agree and align with what we are choosing. So we just have to choose something different.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it helpful, Jillian, if we've ejected beliefs, then we might be left without any particular belief? Would it be helpful to have a new model of money to take on that's more appropriate?
Yeah, it's interesting because, as you know, I'm a musician, and when I play the guitar or the piano, my fingers will have muscle memory. And just like muscle memory, our emotional body, our energetic body, possibly our mental body as well, has memory. So when we wake up in the morning, we attach to the people that we're most closest with because of our energetic muscle memory, so to speak. So if we even eject the energy of other people, our habitual nature will connect to them again, so that we feel close to them, so that we act like they perceive that we should be acting. That we, are, whether we're people pleasers or not, we want to stay close to the people that we are closest with, who are in our inner circle. So if we eject those perceptions and stories and programmings around money or other things, our body will typically just connect to them again to re-download those same beliefs. So we do need to have a belief that we desire. And I call this an anchor vision or an anchor loop, because we're anchoring a new perception, a new rule into our body. And we just repeat that positive anchor so that we know this is our new choice. This is what I'm choosing now. I get to have the amount of money that I desire. I get to have the love that I desire. I get to have the business that I desire. Whatever it is that we're creating, we are ejecting the energy that may be conflicting with that, and then we're choosing what we'd like instead, what we'd like to create.
But when you're ejecting all the beliefs from your parents, in a way, as Derek said, everything is gone. in a way. So also maybe some positives or beliefs that were kind of supporting you. I think there are probably more that are blocking you. I'm fully with you, but in a way there might be also some good ones.
Well, what I had a question, which was a great question you're reminding me of, from a client who said, well, I don't want to eject the love though, right? Like if my mother loves me, I don't want to eject the love. Love is a fluid energy. It should come and go. So if we're grabbing onto the energy of love me, love me, love me, right? That's conditional love. We want unconditional love. We want to allow love to ebb and flow. Love is always going to be there, but like a wave, it ebbs and flows. We don't want a constrictive energy. We don't want to turn love into a constricted energy. We want to, and when we're ejecting the energy of other people from our body, we're becoming our full unique vibration without their attachment or connection. So when we go and meet those other people, we are experiencing them as they truly are. And they're experiencing us as we truly are. So we're not seeing, I'm not going up to my mother and experiencing her and experiencing the relationship between her and I in a certain way because we're entangled. I'm now seeing my mother as she truly is. And that's truly namaste. That's truly, I'm seeing you. I'm acknowledging you. I'm experiencing you as your unique vibration. And you can really immerse yourself in the vibration of that love and of that connection. But then when you separate, eject their energy. Because oftentimes if we're too entangled with somebody else's energy, we tend to create scenarios and make decisions and choices based on what the perception of that entanglement would dictate.
But I think when you change your own beliefs or energy, then as you're saying, your environment has to change as well, right? Because they have to adapt to your changed energy. But in general, I was not speaking about love. It was more about beliefs, right? So because at the beginning I understood that you eject beliefs, so that's why I put my question this way. And I think there are also some beliefs I got from my ancestors that in a way support me. And of course, there are a lot of beliefs that are doing the opposite, maybe blocking me or keeping me from things. But there are also quite some that supporting me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can muscle test. Is this belief encouraging me to create the life that I truly am here to lead? And if it's a belief that is benefiting you, then stay with the connection of that belief and play with the energy of, I don't want to suggest that somebody eject and detach completely from their heritage. If you are connected to your heritage in a way and connected to the earth in a way, and connected to your parents in a way that is benefiting you and your role here in this life and in this incarnation, then that would be beneficial for you and for all of us. But if it is hindering you, then that's what you want to tune in and muscle test. If that's keeping you back from being your true self, and that's why it's important to eject energy that is impeding and constricting our true vibration.
Yeah, but I think this is exactly the key, because you just can't check with each and every belief because there are just too many, right? So I think it's good to have a kind of a strategy, and you probably have to how to use the muscle test in a way to do it in groups, or otherwise, you will continue working on your beliefs and don't have the time to live the life you want to because there are just too many.
Yeah, well, so many people in the personal development space say to, go sit down and write down every single block that you have. Well, we can't do that. We can't do that.
No, you cannot.
Most blocks are unconscious or subconscious. We have no clue what they are. But what I suggest instead is to focus on our desire. And when we're focusing on our desire and using an anchor loop or an anchor vision around having our desire, then the specific blocks and resistance and rules and programmings and stories and judgments will come up to the surface. And then we get to clear those. So that's kind of like, the kinetic divination board gives you the sort of magnet to look for the needle in the haystack instead of, having to go through and search each haystack for that needle. That gives you the magnet by focusing on your desire instead of looking for the blocks.
And Jillian, speaking of having an anchor vision, one thing that I find is actually a really fun way to do that is to do some remote viewing or astral travel to more evolved civilizations and just observe how they're structuring their civilization. So what are they doing with money? What are they doing with relationships? What are they doing with their planet, their ecology? And just see if you can be inspired by extraterrestrials and what are they doing with their technology? And then it becomes once you can see it, right? Once you see people doing something, a lot of times, right? Like nobody can do it until somebody does it, and then everybody can do it. And
awesome, Derek. So right now you got me curious. Tell us a little bit the secrets that you observed while you were traveling.
Well, we did this with our own planet. In the time crystal exercise that I did, we just went a couple hundred years into the future, and we looked at the most probable future Earth timelines, and people were much more connected with their environment. The homes were much more in harmony with, like, the houses were sort of built into the nature a lot more. And people were spending their time doing art, music, sports, meditating together because the distribution of wealth had been solved. So everybody had plenty of resources. So then it really became a pursuit of enjoying the experience together.
So wait a second. So the question is, how do we solve the distribution of wealth?
I think AI could do a pretty good job of, allocating resources and facilitating distribution. I see that as one of the potential uses for it pretty soon. Because there's more than enough wealth to go around for everybody to have plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one example. Another example would be a planet that I viewed. It was a species of humanoid type beings that they have a primary relationship partner, like a spouse, but they treat pretty much everyone like a lover. That is to say, like, they are deeply physical, affectionate with their neighbors and friends, like you might be with a lover. And it was this sort of, if you take, what's the word, polyamory to its like highest vibe sort of projection, that's kind of what it was like. Sort of everybody in love with everyone. And I thought that's kind of a cool vision to observe.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Very interesting.
Would make life so much easier.
So we're at 3:50 my time. You guys, let's go around and just do like closing insights or anything you want to share, or plug your own work, whatever you'd like to do. We'll start with Ivana, since I have heard from you at least recently.
Hey, thanks for the session. It was very inspiring and insightful for me. I learned so much from you, Gillian and Cornelia again. Derek, I would be curious to learn more about your travels, wherever you are traveling. Take us in with you for the next trip. I just realized how powerful the book is actually because created just today again when I just went through that and just observed how many amazing individuals are there with really fantastic exercises, and I just look forward for myself, to exercising all of that within this year. Definitely lots of transformative exercises for me. Maybe what I would love to wish for everyone for the coming months is just to live in the present moment and just to enjoy the synchronicities that are happening all the time all around us.
Yes, thank you for that. Cornelia, you want to go next?
Yeah. Before I wrap up, I would just connect to one thing that Ivona said about the train stopping always in front of her. And I just realized I need to be at the train station earlier because, when I'm getting there, and I'm doing a lot of train rides, the train is always there because I'm just, one of these persons who just get into the train and like 2 minutes afterwards the train leaves the station. So I never experienced that the train is stopping right in front of me. So I have different synchronicities. And for me it was, as Ivona said, I also started reading the book, and it was really so informative and interesting to see all these new exercises. And this is in a way similar to what I'm saying also in my book. It's, you don't change anything in your life by reading about something or by listening to a podcast or by thinking about something or talking about something. It's all about doing. You only can change anything in your life when you do exercises or you actually take action. And I think this is probably my key and main message, because just today I spoke with two people. They said, yeah, I read your book. And then they said, and are you doing any of the exercises? Did you do any of the exercises? And, both said, no, it was so much fun reading the book. But, there is no transformation if you're not implementing them. And that's kind of my most, my vision is that people not only reading it, but they're really doing it and then see and feel and perceive these changes, and that they really can live the life they want, they're dreaming of.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I will go. I think to add to what was just said, Cornelia, I think you need to be and then do and then have. But to be, we do have to do the work, do the work. And it is, I think, just such an amazing book series, and it's amazing to be a part of this book and to connect with these authors and these really powerful, enlightened people who are here to bring so much change and enlightenment and love to the earth and to this this dimension and other dimensions. I think that if we could be and ask the questions of what you could be today and maybe tomorrow, even the next 10 seconds. What energy, what space, what consciousness could you sit in? Could you be for the next 10 seconds that would enlighten the space that you're in and therefore enlighten the world? And I'd love for you to, hopefully you've grabbed the book, and everybody watching and listening, hopefully you have grabbed the book, and all 4 in this series is still free for today and tomorrow. Please do let us know. We love hearing from you. We love hearing about you did the exercises, you sat in the energy, you were being the energy of the exercise, the activities. And as on a personal note, I do host free healing sessions every Friday or most Fridays. And if you're interested in that, just send me a message. They're called the Aligned Healing Call.
Wonderful. Super cool. Thank you. Yeah. And also for everyone watching, Jillian mentioned you can get the book free on Kindle today and tomorrow. And if you would like to review the book, which helps us, I'm offering one of my master classes. We mentioned the Time Crystal Masterclass a few moments ago. If anyone sends me a screenshot of their review, I will send you one of these master classes. There's the Moldavite Matrix Masterclass, the Time Crystal, and the Time Bending class. So you can pick from any of those, and that'll be yours for free as a thank you. So, and thank you all, Jillian, Cornelia, Ivana. Great to see you. Thanks for showing up. Great discussion, and congrats on your success with the book. Congrats to us all. And we'll wrap there, and see you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.